Good day, everyone, and thanks for joining us today here at our Vox Wi-Fi webinar, where the topic today is your business Wi-Fi connectivity future-proof? We are going to be going through a few housekeeping rules here, so thanks for joining us once again. Please, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them at the end. We'll be sure to address them to the panel and go through those with you. This webinar is being recorded for everybody's awareness and will be shared with everybody who has registered on our webinar today. And if you have any further queries, please contact your account managers within Vox or log on to our website, vox.co.za. If I may introduce the panel of experts that we have on the line today. Myself, Craig Blichnout, I'm the Wi-Fi product manager here at Vox. We are joined by Quinton de Fam, who is the managing director and founder of UC Wireless. We've got Vincent Janse van Rensburg, who is a systems engineer for Ruckus Networks, and Werner Wenzel, who is our territory account manager for Africa for Ruckus Networks. Thanks for joining us, everybody. So the agenda today is going to be Wi-Fi design, which is a very interesting and important aspect that we need to discuss. Wi-Fi speed versus capacity. Wi-Fi security is going to be on the agenda. Benefits of Wi-Fi analytics for business. And we're going to be ending off with guest Wi-Fi. So hopefully you guys have brushed up all your knowledge on those questions. But if I may start with Wi-Fi design, something that people don't always pay enough attention to when they start thinking about Wi-Fi for their business. And I think from a panel expert perspective, Werner, if I could ask you to run through this with us regarding Wi-Fi designs and RF designs.
Yes, good morning, everyone. And so absolutely, the design is actually one of the most important aspects of any Wi-Fi opportunity. And the reason for that is you do a hotspot determination, where that determines the type and where the access point needs to be placed. And so that is very important from creating a proper user experience for this. Now, out of this, Vinny, what's the number one question we get asked when we do a design for Wi-Fi?
Sure. Yeah. The most common question is, how far does your Wi-Fi go? And it's not the right kind of question to ask in any scenario. It's not about how fast how far the access point can send out signal. It's actually about how far your device can receive or send back signal. Your limitation on any Wi-Fi network is actually the device that you're using, not the access points.
Yes, and this is where Vox, as an authorized Ruckus partner, comes in, and they are able to deliver this design for you and build the correct solution for a specific site.
Absolutely. Thanks, Werner and Vincent. Very valid points there, but I like that comment that it's not just always about the equipment that you use and install for your Wi-Fi deployment, but it's also boils down to the devices being used on the network, like phones and laptops and tablets, for example. They also have limitations and Wi-Fi requirements. So a lot of thought has to go into this particular aspect of the Wi-Fi design. And we at Vox do it as thoroughly as possible. We've got some very sophisticated software that allows us to, take the guesswork out of, a Wi-Fi design and assessment. The next topic we'd like to cover is, the difference between speed and capacity. For a very long time, everybody's always just, thinking about the speed of their Wi-Fi. But Vincent, I don't know if you've got some more thoughts on this from a Wi-Fi perspective. What should they be thinking about that's more important than speed?
Sure. So at the end of the day, everybody's used to having wireless at home, right? With these D-Links or whatever it is. They're great. They're handling 5-6 devices, not a high amount of traffic being put through them. So we see a lot of speed talk there, right? But where the complication actually comes in is capacity. So if you take an office, for example, how many people are in the office? What is that capacity? Each person has a laptop, a cell phone, maybe a tablet, maybe another device. So there's possibly 4 devices per person that come into an office space that need to be considered. So when designing and looking at the network requirements, capacity is the more important thing to look at. Yes, speed is important because you want to know what kind of throughput you're going to get with the amount of clients that are connected. And that will also determine the amount of access points that are needed within a office space, for example.
100% agree. So, from a user perspective, people just want Wi-Fi to work, but there's so many factors to be considered, like how many devices are connecting to a particular Wi-Fi network. And obviously, as experts and people that are turning to for solutions, we need to take that into account. I mean, from a global perspective, interestingly enough, the internet and Wi-Fi has grown exponentially. At this point in time, there's estimated around 15 billion devices connected to the internet, and that's expected to double by the end of the decade to around 30 billion. And we all know that, moving on to the next slide there, that around 70% of these devices are actually connecting over Wi-Fi. So there's quite a big demand for Wi-Fi to fulfill the customer's expectations and to keep up with the growth that is currently happening, which leads us to a new paradigm shift that's sort of happening, where we are evolving from the speed discussion to capacity discussion. As we've discussed, I mean, we've taken care of the first 10 billion devices on the internet, and now the thinking within the field is to cater for the next 20 billion devices. So, Vincent, I don't know if you can take us through some of the growth that Wi-Fi has experienced over the last, say, 20 years.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, we've seen really accelerated growth over the last couple of years and going into the future, where Wi-Fi 6 has been out for a couple of years now. We're already looking at moving to Wi-Fi 7, where we moving from more of a capacity to throughput discussion on some of the protocols. The important thing to note is that the evolution of Wi-Fi is not going to change. There is going to continue to be growth within Wi-Fi, whether that be speed, capacity. Some of the new access points come with something called Wi-Fi 6E, which is a 6 gigahertz band, which is not unfortunately available in our country yet, but hopefully will be at some point. So that allows us to have more capacity on the access points with a third radio, for example.
Yes, and just to add, Craig, this is where you can't afford not to have great Wi-Fi at your company anymore. It becomes so important to have a proper user experience and deliver great quality Wi-Fi in your network. And this is where Ruckus with Vox can deliver that solution for you.
Absolutely. I mean, not that we're touching on too much of it today, but think of increasing the user experience, increases productivity and just, general work experience and happiness and fulfillment in people's lives every day.
Craig, if you look at what's happened throughout COVID, a lot of businesses have made smaller offices or hot desks, right? So a lot of companies are going zero wire to the desk because they don't know who's going to sit there tomorrow, for example. Yeah. So it's going completely wireless in office spaces at the moment.
And you don't always have the newer laptops don't have Ethernet ports to connect. So they're reliant on Wi-Fi, the phones, and you're starting to do more and more on your mobile devices. So you're using them as sort of mini PCs, and there's definitely no plug-in Ethernet capabilities to those devices.
Correct.
So absolutely, we continue to eagerly watch the evolution of Wi-Fi there. But now, as that happens, security becomes an increasing concern and a point of interest. When you start deploying these larger networks, there's a lot of security factors to consider in. So, again, Vincent and Varenda, if you can add some input in terms of the slides that are coming up, per point, what people should be considering and what options are available to them.
Sure. So the important questions to ask about Wi-Fi to start off with is, how does a user get onto the network, right? What is their user journey to get onto a network? Whether they're a guest, which we'll discuss a little bit later from Quinton, or a corporate user where a passphrase is not secure enough anymore, where you need to use passwords and or certificate-based authentication to better secure your network from the outside world. So with Ruckus and Vox, we have all these solutions. The next thing we need to look at is the encryption on the Wi-Fi. Is your network secure? So in the past, networks at coffee shops, for example, were unencrypted. So anybody could go sit next to you while you were using the network and sniff your traffic, okay, because the traffic between your device and the access point was unencrypted. With new technologies coming into Wi-Fi, we have an open secure SSID now where we actually encrypt that previously unencrypted network, which now better secures you. We've also moved to higher forms of encryption on Wi-Fi with WPA2, WPA3, and other things that have come out with Wi-Fi 6 and moving on to Wi-Fi 7.
Fantastic. You're all with the thinking of people being more secure and feeling more trusting in the Wi-Fi networks that they join. And then network segmentation there.
Yeah, so network segmentation is a very interesting topic. This can be used in a lot of different ways. Basically, what this allows us to do is to segment a network into multiple low pieces. Historically, we've done it with VLANs and things like that. Network segmentation takes it to the next level with private VLANs. Where this really works well is, for example, student accommodation, residential areas, things like that, where let's say in a student accommodation, a student gets given a private VLAN for his space where he lives. His PlayStation, TV, radio, whatever it is, can all be connected to his private VLAN, which then follows him around the network. So no matter where he goes in the campus, he still has access to that private network. And how we handle that across not just the Wi-Fi, but the switching layer as well.
Absolutely. Access control. Yeah.
Yeah. So access control, I think we've discussed a bit. We've moved from WPA2 to WPA3 now, which hasn't been cracked or hasn't been broken into. WPA2 has, but with a word of caution that it's not easy and you need a heck of a lot of time to sit and do WPA2. So access control, again, is how you're getting onto the network. We've discussed passwords. We've discussed usernames and passwords. We've discussed certificates. Certificates is the most secure way to onboard a user onto the network. That certificate cannot be copied onto somebody else's machine or onto a different device. It is unique to that machine and that machine's ID. And that's why it's probably the most secure way of getting people onto the network.
No, I like where it's heading. It's basically saying that if you're authorized to use the network, you basically get given the permissions, and that is how we should control our networks. Everybody that is permitted onto the network should have an easy enough experience to use it, but you're also keeping out those that are not permitted.
Correct.
Oh, and then regular updates, the importance of that.
Yeah. So with all the new security threats and everything that's going on in the world, Vox takes the hassles out of these the users or your clients having to do updates on their access points and their controllers and managing the solution themselves. Vox looks after after the systems, making sure they're up to date with the latest patches, latest firmware versions, making sure that we are running the best secure network there is at any given time.
Yeah, we definitely do that, and that's again the benefits of a managed Wi-Fi solution. If it's a unmanaged solution in very many instances, and there isn't the relevant skill to do the regular updates, then it's going to be left unupdated for years to come.
Correct.
All right, and user education, obviously a big one.
Yeah, so user education. I mean, it's great having all these security tools in place, but unfortunately, our weakest link is our users. So it is very important to spend time with each user and explain to them what a phishing email is, what a phishing attack is, what to put on social media, what not to put on social media. All of these things create a vulnerability in your network. I mean, if you're posting messages about your cat and your cat's name and you make your password onto the Wi-Fi, your cat's name, right? Social engineering, somebody will figure out that that's your password and they'll get in. So it's about using the right security posture as a user when putting in these passwords and connecting and making sure as a user I'm secure and I know what I'm doing when I connect to a network.
Fantastic, thanks, guys. I appreciate that input. We're going to actually start moving on to Wi-Fi analytics and the importance of it, but we're going to start out with a quick introductory video. Please bear with us. It's just about a 2 or 3 minute video.
Your enterprise network is growing, more critical, complex, and diverse, more difficult to manage. Service tickets piling up, users frustrated, troubleshooting time-consuming, IT reactive. You're stuck with manual processes, multiple data sources, and lots of guesswork. Without the proper tools, you lack insight into network operations. You can't manage what you can't see. See more with Ruckus Analytics. It's a cloud service for network intelligence and service assurance from CommScope. Ruckus Analytics is a powerful all-in-one network analytics service for your Ruckus network. Driven by machine learning and artificial intelligence, it automatically aggregates data across every relevant network metric and KPI and turns that data into insight that allows IT to proactively identify and act on network performance issues. Incident Analytics. The system automatically detects service incidents and classifies them by severity. It identifies root causes and recommends steps for remediation. Network Health Monitoring. Ruckus Analytics automatically monitors network health, continuously measuring against SLA thresholds that you define. Client Troubleshooting. Advanced client troubleshooting gives you the power to drill down into the connectivity experience of individual clients on the network. Data Explorer. The Data Explorer tool lets you create custom dashboards and data visualizations with easy access to 12 months of network data. Get the comprehensive visibility you need to identify, prioritize, and act on service issues. Accelerate troubleshooting, reduce help desk tickets, improve user experience, make IT more efficient, and improve planning. Today's enterprise networks are simply too complex to manage effectively using yesterday's manual processes. Now, with a single cloud subscription, you can transform network data into actionable insight to proactively deliver the network experience your users expect. Ruckus Analytics, cloud-based network intelligence and service assurance from CommScope. See what you've been missing.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, from a Vox perspective, we're finding this to be a very powerful tool and a powerful piece of software that is very beneficial for each and every one of our customers to consider adding to their network. Vincent, I know you've got some insight into this. Perhaps you can take us through this next slide.
Yeah, sure. So comprehensive network health monitoring. So what this does is we monitor everything that happens on the network, okay? Especially when it's Ruckus switching with Ruckus access points, we know everything that's going on. And we're able to set thresholds. So let's say you want to set a threshold that every user needs to have at least 10 megabits of throughput at any given time. We can set that threshold and we can see when that SLA is not being met and then adjust or add an access point, for example, to make sure that that SLA is being met, or if there's an issue on the network, where the issue is, what the problem is, and how to solve it. The system will actually tell us how to solve it as well.
Fantastic.
So this is all driven via the artificial intelligence and ML platform, which is Ruckus Analytics. As I say, all the information about the network is sent through to this platform, and it learns about your trends as a business. How often people log in, how often, or what your busiest time of day is, things like that. And it will actually work out when there's abnormalities to those predicted usage patterns as well. And it makes it a very powerful tool to know what's going on your network, also to troubleshoot the network and not just report it, right? It's this all-in-one package where, let's say, I have a problem on the network today. I phone Vox to solve a problem. In the past, that problem existed at that present point in time. And yes, we have tools that we're able to store the data, but for a limited amount of time. With the analytics platform, we're able to go back in history and actually see Vincent had a problem at this given point in time. This is the problem he had, and this is how we fix it. Okay. So it takes the turnaround time of fixing an issue on the network from maybe a couple of days, sending out an engineer, booking an engineer to get in a car, go to the business, troubleshoot the issue, and then to find out that the problem isn't happening now, and you'll have to come back at another time when it is happening, for example. It takes all the guesswork out of having issues on the network and how to fix them.
Absolutely, and we've all been down that previous road.
Yeah.
And then obviously some tools to help the troubleshooting.
Yeah, so service validation is great. We've all moved with what happened through COVID. Everybody's doing these Teams calls, video conferencing, whatever it is. Service validation allows us to actually test the voice and video quality on a network prior to having let's say a conference or something that the staff have to log into. It also allows us to run tests on the network at any given point in time. So you want to make sure that your business is ready for that day's work. Let's run a test at 6 o'clock in the morning, make sure that everything's working on the network as expected, and report on if something is not before people even get into the network that morning.
And in the right areas where they intend
Correct.
working from, for sure.
Correct. Yeah.
All right, and then the data exploration we saw in the video there a bit. But,
so data exploration is a very, very powerful tool. It has all the variables from all the different options and settings and access points and controller knowledge that happens within the network. And what you're able to do is customize custom dashboards or reports using the data exploration tool.
Fantastic. And then reporting.
Yeah. So reporting, we've got standard reporting from PCI reporting, from basically any kind of report that you could want is basic there. And if it's not there, as I said, it's in the Data Explorer.
Absolutely. We've got a bit of a sheet here detailing the types of reports that become available to our customers who've selected the analytics product. And this is to name but a few, but there really is something for everybody, depending on what it is that you're looking for on your network. I don't know if there's any additional points that you would like to add to this particular list of reports that become available.
Yeah, so I'd like to add here, this is where you're actually able to see, you can see one of the wireless report client reports. So you can actually see per device, per MAC address, exactly what is happening on the network. Are they actually doing the work that they're supposed to be doing, or are they downloading torrents, or, all of those things. So you have a proper overview of the network and how it's performing. And actually then from a troubleshooting point of view as well, one of the first things that always goes wrong when the network goes down is people blame the Wi-Fi. But this is how you can actually improve mean time between failure and mean time to repair, is by looking at these reporting and analytics.
Fantastic. And then just pinpointing the area of a particular alarm or what have you in a much quicker time frame.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a couple of pages here just to show you guys what the dashboards and the actual reporting pages will look like, but it really does drill down into as much detail as each and every customer would require. The amount of access points, if they're offline, if they're not functioning at their optimum rate, then it is possible for self-remediation, or you can use the AI intelligence to potentially remediate or at least give you advice as to what steps to take in order to troubleshoot. So just following up with another quick video, which is a more overall encompassing video of our Ruckus partnership and the Ruckus products that are available out there.
With an increasing number of devices per person and an increasing need for speed, delivering a great wireless experience matters. But delivering isn't easy. Whether you're dealing with a high density of client devices, large coverage areas, or the ever-rising expectations from users, there are numerous challenges associated with providing great Wi-Fi. For one, there's the issue of device density. With so many mobile devices congregating in one place at one time, there's competition for airtime, which leads to poor Wi-Fi. Think of a football stadium, excited fans cheering their team and fighting for bandwidth. Then there's the problem of deployment. Where do I place my APs for optimal performance and easier cabling? Where do I mount them? On the ceiling, on the wall, or on a pole? Imagine a hotel, a school, or even a smart city. Huge coverage area makes it tricky. There's also the issue of application requirements. No two applications are the same, and supporting their unique requirements is a tremendous challenge. If an email or text message is delayed by a second, no one will notice. However, if a user is live streaming a video conference call, even a delay of 100 milliseconds is not acceptable. And there's always the issue of interference. The Wi-Fi signal out from an AP is continuously fighting with walls and floors, weather conditions, devices emitting radio frequency, and even other Wi-Fi networks. Good thing at Ruckus Networks, we've thought through all your possible problems and worked to solve them. We pack our APs with powerful patented technologies. Our patented BeamFlex Plus adaptive antenna technology can deliver uninterrupted Wi-Fi through the toughest of environments, delivering stronger signals at longer distances. And our Smart Mesh feature helps with those deployment issues by enabling APs to be deployed in even the hardest to reach places. Channel Fly technology leverages machine learning to automatically find the least congested channels and helps deliver great performance in high interference and dense environments. Our SmartCast technology optimizes the application handling and delivers standout results in highly dense environments. The list goes on. If you keep having problems, we'll keep having solutions. We offer the most comprehensive portfolio of APs to meet all your needs. Get Ruckus access points. Start experiencing great Wi-Fi today.
Yeah, so we definitely appreciate our partnership with Ruckus in terms of supplying the right products and the right solutions and the right equipment in this ever-evolving Wi-Fi world that we're living in. But now that we've taken care of the why, what, and how of Wi-Fi, one of the most important areas to consider is guest Wi-Fi. So we've got our guest, 4 guest Wi-Fi discussions on the line with us that we'll introduce as we go. But basically, Vox does offer solutions for Wi-Fi for our guests or for guest Wi-Fi, which will cater for our customers, meaning their guests, their customers, students, visitors, patients, for example, shoppers, or anyone who needs guest Wi-Fi for a business via a secure captive portal and landing page via a solution called Linkify. We're going to start with a quick introductory video.
People hold incredible potential in their hands. You may not even know how big it is unless you know how to tap into it. This is why at AV System, we developed Linkify, a platform for obtaining data that helps people and businesses. How do we do that? We use various sources of data, such as existing Wi-Fi infrastructure or BLE devices, to easily learn things like who people are, where they go, and how long they stay there. This gives endless opportunities for venues to become more customer-friendly, for businesses to improve their marketing ROI, and for cities to grow smarter. Thanks to Linkify, Wi-Fi access for users is as easy as a click of a button. For you, it presents tons of data and endless opportunities. With an intuitive graphical user interface, you can create flexible login paths that adapt to the user based on the information they provide, such as their age, gender, or preferences. Additionally, you learn about their behaviors. By aggregating this data, Linkify gives you a unique set of location analytics that drive smarter decision-making. When you see where people like to go, you can promote that space. And if you know how long they stay somewhere, you can compare results and introduce improvements to underperforming places. And then there's more. Linkify is a powerful marketing platform that will drive your promotional efforts based on the information you've gained. With an easy-to-use marketing engine, you'll be able to effortlessly design promotional emails tailored to just the right audience. Send push notifications to people in proximity of your venue, or create loyalty campaigns that will delight your customers. Linkify opens up a world of opportunities. Easy Wi-Fi access, navigation, and promotions for users. Simple guest Wi-Fi management. Complex data and marketing tools for businesses, venues, and cities. Learn how we can help your use case. Schedule a demo to improve your business with Linkify.
I'll now hand over to Quinton and then Zell, who will take us through the product in a bit more detail. Thanks, Quinton.
Yes, thank you, Craig. So as you saw in the video, Linkify is a Wi-Fi platform. And these days, free Wi-Fi is generally expected, just like water is expected when you go into a hotel. Everyone expects free Wi-Fi. But just putting free Wi-Fi out there and hoping for the best that everyone would come running to your venue, whatever business it is not necessarily producing the results these days. And also just hoping that it's the best kept secret or just discovered is not really the way to go. As you've already heard, there's going to be some expense to invest in delivering the Wi-Fi. So why would you do that unless you can leverage the benefits positively? One of the key ways that one does that is with direct engagement. So the platform as a portal, when you're going to join the Wi-Fi, you're going to pull out a mobile phone. Typically, we see these days from the stats on Linkify that about 98% of devices that are used to join Wi-Fi are actually, or in the venues that we are running Linkify, are actually mobile phones. But you pull out a mobile phone and you see a portal. Immediately, that business or the advertiser on that portal is directly engaging the user, speaking to them, potentially even by name. Hi, Craig, welcome to the Wi-Fi at Vox. How can we help you today? Or we've got the special offer or whatever. So direct engagement is a key one. Then that leads to being able to position the value and educate customers on what's out there. Why do business with you? What's new? What's happened? What's changed? You know, for people to pay attention to all the plethora of media out there and advertising, and as we're seeing, printed magazine is becoming less and less. Digital engagement, digital advertising has become more and more. And the reason is that you can actually get to people and proposition the value of your business, your product, etc., and put it in front of people. Then another key benefit is that you're dealing with real-time actual clients. The social media giants have billions of users on their database, and you can market to these people at a reasonable expense, except the fact that these people have never probably put their foot in your venue and may never ever do that. So the percentage of real active market is quite low sometimes. Whereas when someone has actually walked into your venue and joined your Wi-Fi in a mall or your supermarket or your retail chain or your reception of your business or whatever it is, they were actually there. They are a customer, they spent time getting there, and you can actually engage with them. So knowing that they were customers, you've got a high likelihood of being able to continue attracting them as customers and change their user behavior in real time, which is what this is all about, so that you can actually have a positive spend. And that feeds back to how do you get an ROI from this kind of solution. The power we have is in being able to do what we call AI-based targeted ads. Linkify by nature has demographics and segregation that has got powerful tools that we're the market leaders on in terms of being able to segregate the data, and you can gather this data too by actually profiling, which we'll talk about now. But I can know that I'm trying to market to ladies between this age and that age, or gents between this age and that age, or people interested in certain things. But we can even go beyond that with AI-based targeted ads, which is a digital marketing platform that extends Linkify's capability to actually do proper CPM targeted rates. When you're talking about media companies wanting to leverage this kind of advertising, that's the terms they talk: click-through rates and CPM rates, and making sure that certain ads are seen by certain individuals a certain number of times. And you can guarantee that those ads are performed in a certain way. So that's very important when you're putting Wi-Fi like this into these environments. Stemming from direct engagement is the ability to now get immediate, simple feedback and surveys. You know, a billboard on the side of the highway cannot ask the people who are seeing it the question, what do you think of this, or what would you prefer? So Wi-Fi and its direct engagement extends the ability to individually interact with each user of Wi-Fi in a very simple and quick fashion without them filling in a long 20 questionnaire, and just answer a simple question. What is your favorite sporting goods, or what sport do you play? What's your favorite car? What's your favorite soft drink? Whatever it is, that is marketing information and market research that's going to drive value, drive ROI, and deliver benefits. Brand reinforcement is another one that is key in being able to reinforce your brand. People seeing it every time they log in, people seeing your presence and pushing the marketing, and that links to the value proposition and education we mentioned before. You can actually do quite fancy customization of Linkify portals, so you can wrap a portal with a background image. So there's a lot of powerful configuration features that you'll see some of it in play when Anzel shows you just now. Omnichannel marketing is a marketing term that refers to essentially being able to market to people beyond their immediate engagement with Wi-Fi. You walked into some venue, you joined the Wi-Fi, you're there right now as a real-time customer, but how do I get you back at the right time? How do I market the Mother's Day special that's coming up in a month's time or 2 months' time? Omnichannel marketing is the way to do that. And as you saw in the video, we've got some of those embedded platforms in there. And there's also the ability to leverage some of the platforms that Vox and the Vox Group have, which Craig will be able to tell you about on another occasion. But those are powerful features to be able to say, hey, there's this special offer. Customer profiling and reporting is what you're then able to understand. Do people like to spend time there on different days and times? What is the stats? What do they enjoy? And with these incremental profiles that we talk about, we can actually then build profiles and report on customers and understand what their needs are. When you understand your customers better, you can market to them better, you can increase your sales, you can know without even asking them the questions that this is what they need, and that grows revenue and does some positive feedback on that side. So just to continue then and summarize some of these things, the Linkify portal is a great tool to build your customer relationships. Knowing your customer these days, KYC as they call it, typically in the bank industry, is key. And building customer relationships and treating them as an individual and not just a number. Linkify has loyalty programs built into it, so you can actually do that with that side of things. Gathering your own data. I think these days people understand that data is king. So it's important to underpin the value of the fact that in Linkify, although Vox will sell you the platform, the data belongs to you as the client who's running the platform. It's your data about your retail chains. It's your data about your customers. And we give you all the tools as well to manage that data with POPI compliance and GDPR compliance. So it's really important to understand you're generating your own data and not having to leverage the social media giants for their data. You can make market-driven decisions. You can understand that on Saturdays, the place is too busy and we actually need to stimulate some special offers at different times to get quieter times more busy and offer certain products or change a tenant mix in a mall or add to certain products in our market range. So being able to make those data-driven decisions is key. Understanding your business and business analytics, your business intelligence, leveraging the dashboard. Nobody drives a car without looking at the fuel gauge to see that you've got enough fuel to get where you're going, or checking that you're driving the right speed, or that you're not over revving the engine. So just in that logic, the power of understanding what's going on in your business comes from being able to leverage, as the Ruckus colleagues on the call highlighted about understanding the low-level Wi-Fi. This analytics understands the nature of the customer themselves and their habits and the frequency of their visits and how often they come back, how long they spend there, or where they go, what areas they frequent, which we'll show you later on in the live demos. Monetizing your Wi-Fi is key. Free Wi-Fi, there's always a cost when, you've heard the saying, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Well, you need to make sure as an investor in a platform, you deliver free Wi-Fi, but the monetizing is also highly important to actually realize that you need to create an incentive. If you value the data that we mentioned earlier, you would put a price to it. And that's where we suggest that organizations that are leveraging Linkify with Vox would actually put incentives in play to actually make it worth people's while. Have a 1,000 Rand gift voucher that you give away once a week, because that's what you're valuing your data at. And that not only drives people to the Wi-Fi to join it, to subscribe to it, to interact with it, but that's driving the data that is actually leveraging the monetization. So monetizing Wi-Fi is not just about putting adverts on the portal. It is partly about that, but it's also about understanding the BI and generating an ROI for your business, because you understand how customers are interacting with your business. So you need to see this as a platform for monetization. Multi-venue locations and cross-venue analytics is a key feature of Linkify. Not only can we see if you've got multiple venues across the country or across a city, how many people frequent different venues and how many people are customers of multiple stores, but you can also drive business to other stores within your group. There's some mall tenants these days that are part of a group, and they could have up to 10 or 20 different stores, but they're completely different markets. And if you're in a jewelry store, and I know that I own the sporting goods store across the road, I can drive you to that venue when I know something about you to say, hey, did you know that we've got a special across the road in our sporting goods store, or vice versa? Have you bought your wife or your girlfriend something for Valentine's Day, or your mother for Mother's Day? And that allows you to do the upsell and cross-sell to people using this clever marketing, because Linkify is a multi-tenant, multi-venue facility. So it has many different layers that you, in terms of how your organization is set up, and you can then aggregate and report on that data by those venues. You can even do the surveys by these venues, and that allows you to drive your cross-sell, upsell marketing and automate that to a degree on Linkify as well. So yeah, I think that summarizes it, Craig, for now.
Fantastic. Quentin, I wanted to just add there, in summary for me, I think, as you've possibly mentioned previously, but it's making Wi-Fi become a digital marketing platform and not just a Wi-Fi delivery platform.
100%. You've got to see Wi-Fi now as your guest engagement, as a digital marketing platform. It's no longer just something to put in and hope that people get free Wi-Fi and they will be happy customers, or think you're a great business for providing us free Wi-Fi, because you can attract the wrong customers, and the right customers are not bothered with getting on, which leads us into what we were saying earlier about what are the key steps to observe when you're delivering key Wi-Fi. The first one is really important about delivering Wi-Fi, but making people aware of it. What is in it for me? That is definitely one of the key things for a customer. If you're going to drive user decisions and user behavior, you need to incentivize that. Just like any business would incentivize sales staff, this is a sales process. Incentivizing people as to what's in it for me to join the Wi-Fi is the first attraction. Creating an awareness of its presence is key. So the next step comes into being able to register. So when a person first joins it, we call it a registration process. So it's the first time we've seen that, and we'll show you how we can even see on the stats in a retail demo just now, how we can tell that people are new, they've never been to that venue before, or they're returning customers. The first time that people then are seen, which is the first time we've seen this device on the network, we then register. The Ruckus network would send to Linkify and say, well, here's this person connect. We see that we've never seen this person before. We say, Craig, well, we don't say Craig because we don't know he's Craig. Please give us your name, etc. The second time you come back, on subsequent times, we say, welcome back, Craig, to this venue or that venue. And that leads us on to step 3, where you can then start engaging the user with marketing, with your special offers. And the more you're learning about them from subsequent visits, the more you can tailor your marketing and customize your marketing to build powerful flows that Ansel will show you shortly some examples of in live utilization of how we can actually do this at venues. And then obviously, as I said earlier, you've got to look at the analytics in step 4. You've got to understand what that means. You've got to profile your customers, which is the last step 5, and understand what that drives. So this is in high level, the process that one follows to drive guest Wi-Fi and get the value as a customer. Why would you buy this from Vox? Because it's going to grow your business. It's going to grow your revenue. And if you just threw free Wi-Fi out there, you need to speak to Vox about enabling your business with this sort of process and leveraging it on the platforms that they've got available.
Agreed. Thanks, Quentin. Are we moving over to Ansel for a bit of a demonstration?
Yes, Ansel will take over from here.
Thanks very much. Very informative.
No problem. So let's have a look at Linkify's user journey, or you could call it a workflow. So our user journey enables powerful portals that are advanced, multi-step, and highly customizable. The user journey provides incremental customer profiling. So like Quentin mentioned before, we ask a user a few sets of questions every single time they log in via the captive portal to the Wi-Fi. So the first time they log in, we maybe ask, what's your first name? The second time they log in, we can ask a question like, rate your previous experience at our store, etc. Hyper-targeted advertising, leveraging previously collected data, customizable time of day portals. So with the user journey, we have a condition for time of day, so you can present multiple different portals with different advertising or different types of questions every hour of the day or on specific days. Maybe for Easter, you plan to have a captive portal go live a week before Easter, and you want to set it up a month in advance to go live on that specific date with the Easter advertising. That is something that you can do. Obviously, gathering opt-in data from customers for marketing and compliance. And through doing this, we can launch SMS and email campaigns on the Linkify platform to target users based off of data we've previously collected from them, which I will get into. And obviously, with our captive portals, we can present multiple portals for language preferences to the users. And then send real-time SMSs and emails directly from the portals. So we can set up a SMS or email trigger that gets sent out to the user as they're making the connection with the captive portal. Maybe there's an event happening on that specific day at your mall or at your retail site. You can then make the customers aware of that event that is happening. Also with our location-based services, you can also set up a location trigger so that if a user walks past a certain area or a certain store, obviously if they've previously opted in and we have their mobile or email, we can then send a triggered SMS or email to that user. Okay. The next slide, I'm just going to show our user journey. So I'm just going to quickly let it play over here. So it's just what it looks like at the back end, and you'll be able to see that you can, like I said, apply like multiple steps to the login process. Okay. So here I'm just going to quickly show you an example. So we can present a captive portal to a user and we can ask them a set of questions. So over here you can see we can ask which of the below do you visit our retail store for the most? And then we can apply conditions on this user journey. So you can see with that question, I've divided it up on the responses. And we can present different portals based off of the responses. So here is a consumables. And you can see I can now take the user on a unique consumables captive portal because that's previously what they said they're interested in. And we can market to them on consumables because we know that that is what they're interested in. Okay, just before I move on to the next slide, I just wanted to show with the user journey, I think it actually started from the beginning. It's okay. I'm going to move over to the next slide. Okay, so on the screen, if you have your mobile device with you, you can just open up your camera and scan the QR code. If you're not able to scan the QR code, don't worry, I will walk through the QR code on the screen with you. Okay. So with the Linkify user journey, I set up the following flow. So this is just like simulating multiple experiences just for this webinar. So I have a hotel or hospitality example or a retail / retail chain example. So the first one we'll look at is hospitality, and you can go ahead and click on the hospitality button. And you can see when you click on the hospitality button, the next portal that gets presented to you will ask you, this is now you at a hotel, and you can say, okay, am I a guest? Am I there for a conference or meeting? Or am I a visitor, maybe visiting the restaurant or picking someone up or something of that sort? So you can see on the next point, if you log in as a guest, okay, Linkify can do integrations with the hotel's PMS system. So guests that are checked in, we can verify them and say, provide us with your room number and your last name, and we validate that with the PMS system to make sure that user is in fact checked in at the hotel. And then you can log in, and you can see we can then authenticate you. The next one, conference and meeting. So this is a token / voucher option. Obviously, the tokens and the vouchers are generated on the Linkify platform, and you can specify if you want a time limit token or a data cap token. So as example, give a user a token for 1 hour or 3 days or 100 megabytes. You specify those parameters on the Linkify platform. Okay. The next example is that of a visitor. So like I mentioned, maybe someone visiting the hotel to go to the restaurants, or maybe there's an event or something like that. This is our form / questionnaire option. So we can also use a set of questions like, what is your first name, your email, the reason for visiting the hotel, and they can like let us know. And then we can like restrict them and say, okay, for visitors, you only have 2 hours of complimentary Wi-Fi for the day, for 1 hour. That's up to you. Okay. The next slide I'm going to go to is just now looking at the retail / retail chain example. So this is what Quinton mentioned in the beginning, doing incremental profiling. So you can see what we can do is we can present a portal to a user and ask them a question like, which of the below options do you visit our retail store for the most? Okay, and we can capture that. And then when the user returns the second time, let's say they answered, they visit the retail store for consumables or something like that, we can then present a captive portal with consumable advertising to them, and then go and ask them a question regarding consumables, because we know that that is what they're interested in. Okay, and then the third one, you can now say to the user, okay, in order to connect to the Wi-Fi, please opt into our weekly newsletter. Okay, then we get the user to opt into the weekly newsletter. And then the fourth visit, we can say, like, rate your previous experience. How can we better our customer service? So by doing this, we're not asking users 20 sets of questions at once to gather the information that we need. We're asking it in like small batches and then building a user profile. Okay. Next, what we're going to do is I'm going to hand over to Quinton, and Quinton will be showing us the Linkify dashboard and some statistics. Thank you, Quinton.
Thanks, Ansel.
No
Just showing you quickly some live examples here. So you can see the dashboard on my screen is a real-time dashboard. So we're looking at quickly in a venue that we work closely with globally. It's a retail venue. It's a big mall in Europe. And we've got 62 people on the Wi-Fi right now, and 17 people. There were 62 people today, 17 people on right now. not particularly exciting. Maybe people are not doing some weekday shopping. You can see things like language that people are using. This is detected automatically from the browser of the phone. We can also do that manually. So those options that Ansel was showing you on the portals can be driven to actually select a preference. If people use their phone in English in South Africa, they may still prefer to, or it would be good to engage people in their home language. So this gives us some detail. We've also got a live dashboard of what's happening in terms of the presence analytics. So Linkify has got a really powerful integration with Ruckus. We've probably got the best integration with Ruckus on location-based services. So we always recommend their solution for this type of functionality. And it's because we've got such real-time update. You can actually see, and this is a Ruckus venue that I'm showing you now, how quickly we're updating, how many people are present in the venue. Linkify is a powerful feature to be able to count the number of users present, and on that basis tell how many people are actually in that venue. So in the mall right now, there are nearly 1,000 people. We've had about nearly 3,000 people today. And if you look here, we can distinguish between what we call a passerby and a visitor. Passerby is someone that we saw glancing or very fleeting, or from a distance, because we look at a number of things like the signal strength, but this really helps us to do powerful analytics. So there's not any other platforms that really have a location-based engine with this kind of machine learning that's built into the product. This is a more advanced license that Vox can sell you. But if you look here over the time today, we can see that we've got a lot of returning visitors. So this is a typical weekday profile. And here is the returning visitors. So a large portion of the people attending this venue are returning visitors. And our passers-by and visitors are also a good mix there. And we can even tell dwell time distribution. So I want to get, in the interest of time, just quickly to some presence analytics over a month. And what we've done is we've just taken the month of February as an analysis. And you can see in the month of February that this venue had nearly 190,000 people as visitors, as footfall traffic. And just glancing at the daily distribution of these, we noticed that the 11th was quite a significant time where we had a lot of traffic, the highest in the whole month. And that really leads to the question of why, what happened. What we can tell you is that Valentine's Day was on the Monday. So it's highly likely that this is Valentine's Day shopping. And if you see, it's the same. Saturday here is the busiest. You can actually see that when we look, we can pick up that the Saturday was the busiest from 12 until 7. And if we look here at new and returning visitors, we see also that an interesting thing is that although routinely during the week, this venue has returning people who are there frequently, so they're your regular customers. On this particular Saturday, there was a higher than normal percentage of people that were new visitors. So they are destination visitors. They're coming there maybe as an outing, but these are new customers. So nearly 13,000 people of the 16,700 people there that were there that Saturday were actually new visitors that never put their foot in the mall. And this we can tell just by a mobile device being in their pocket. They don't even have to be on the Wi-Fi. As long as there's a mobile capable device on the person, we can pick this kind of stuff up. And it doesn't breach POPI because it's non-invasive and non-identifiable information. And when you look here, we can actually, when we go the most advanced, we can actually geofence different areas. And I've done this for the food court for the same month to see what happened there. And the food court has a very similar trend. So the food court had probably 1,200 people, 1,100 people in it on that particular Saturday. And their dwell times and busy times were not as extreme as the venue itself, but you can still see that the Saturday was busy, but they still have a good distribution of people than other days. So it wasn't that these people came for fast food, they actually came for shopping on that day. And when we look at the last stat here, this is where you can actually see the statistics of who used the Wi-Fi for that month. So that month we had 4,500 people using the Wi-Fi, and you could see the users of the Wi-Fi wasn't as prolific. And this highlights that in this venue, they are not marketing or incentivizing the use of the Wi-Fi as much. This mall predominantly uses the Wi-Fi for these kind of stats. They try to understand what people do, and what they do is they actually do this flow analytics, which I'll just show you briefly, which can tell where people go. So I can actually tell from the entrance of the mall that people walked into, if I can get it to highlight, people went predominantly from the entrance to the food court. So that entrance is used predominantly for the food court, but we can also see, from particular aisles where people came from and where people go to. So now we can really understand the flow and analytics, and this goes beyond just using Wi-Fi as a portal and a user engagement. This goes to the presence analytics, where you can really understand why people are attending your venues, what they are doing there, how long they're spending there, and you can start to understand footfall traffic, but not just general footfall traffic as a non-unique user. We understand, because we can recognize the device and its return, we understand where people are going, how long they're spending there. So this kind of detailed analytics is really groundbreaking when you consider that retail and guest traffic to businesses that there's people need to spend money for the business to make money. Now you can understand a lot more about them and make the right business decisions at the end of the day, driven off Wi-Fi and free Wi-Fi and Linkify with Vox. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you, Quentin and Zal. That was very, very informative. Just to highlight the two different types of analytics that we've spoken about today. So there's analytics that is a very powerful tool for troubleshooting and ensuring your Wi-Fi network is being used optimally. And then there is the guest Wi-Fi analytics, which allows you to understand your user and your gather data from your user in order to improve your business approach to that customer. So thanks very much, and thanks to everyone on the panel. I did have one or two questions that I wanted to just bring up here in terms of how would a customer go about getting a Wi-Fi design or heat map report? It is a product that within Vox we are able to sell directly. So once we've done a desktop survey or a RF design for your business, it is possible to supply you with that particular product in order to just ensure that we've achieved what we set out to achieve during the design process. Another question that we'd like to point out is, can all Wi-Fi clients get managed Wi-Fi analytics for their network? It is very specific to a Ruckus equipment deployment at this stage. So you would need to have Ruckus equipment in order to take advantage of our Ruckus analytics product. And that is it from our side. So we hope that the webinar has been informative and you've gained some insights. And please reach out to Vox in terms of sales inquiries or your account manager, but we look forward to engaging and offering a Wi-Fi solution to you guys in the future. Thank you everyone on the panel for your time and input today.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, Craig. Yes, have a good day.
Appreciate it, everyone. Bye-bye.